Hey, welcome back to Vice Grip Garage. So many of you have fallen in love with the Independence Chevelle back here, myself included. And one of the most common questions is, what happened to it and when is it coming back? Well, the comeback process starts now. And in order for any of this to make sense, you're also going to inherit some big updates on Liberty Chevelle here and the Monte Barro, our Monte Carlo stock car tribute car. So for all of this to work, we're going to have to do 2 engine pulls, 2 transmission pulls, rear end swaps, suspension work, front suspension work, wiring. There is so much work to do, and as usual, more work than time, so let's dig in. So the Independence Chevelle has been sitting here in storage, and if you're not familiar with it or you're new to the channel, I do recommend checking out the playlist, and you can follow the story from essentially when I found this car. But I'm going to give you a 30,000 foot high-level overview, lay out the game plan, kind of talk about what we need to do, and I'm going to do it as quickly as possible so we can start throwing wrenches. We've got so much work to do. But found this car basically abandoned, got it running, drove it home, and right after that we found out that, well, Rhonda and her father had actually built this car as a tribute after the September 11th attacks, and that's when we named it Independence Chevelle. We have the Statue of Liberty, Twin Towers back here. And that's what kind of changed the build. I no longer wanted to change the body or the paint. It meant too much. It was significant. Not only a father-daughter build, but a very significant build regarding something that is history. There's no other way to put it. It was a historic event, an unfortunate event. We turned it into a burnout car. We've done drag and drive events. We've drag raced it. We've done all these things. And through that process, as you can see, the body has really taken a beating. And one of the most common comments is, well, just throw a new body on it. Put rockers on it, rebuild the car. Well, here's the thing. It needs floor pans and it needs trunk pans. But to put floor pans in and trunk pans in, you need something to weld to. We'd have to put a firewall in and dog wheelhouses. Well, if we do that, there's no rockers to put the floor to, and there's no quarter panels to put the wheel well houses to. And then the quarter panels got to attach to a roof skin, which is rotted. And essentially, this entire car, there is not one straight piece of metal in it that isn't bent, twisted, or rotted, other than the inside door skins. This would be a full rotisserie, and 6 figures later, we'd have an all-new metal car that doesn't resemble Independence in any way, shape, or form. So I don't want to do that. I want to keep the way the car looks. It just means too much to me. So a guy made the decision to park this thing and not beat it up anymore. And here's my idea. I want to turn this car into a street machine. Yep. I want to put it back on the street. It's somehow street legal right now. But I want a streetable engine, streetable transmission, streetable rear end. I want anybody to be able to jump in this thing, go down the highway, go to car shows, go to events, do things like power tour, cruising the coast, go coast to coast, take it on Route 66, enjoy the car, show people, tell the story, and that's what I'm aiming to do. Now, as you can see, there is a tremendous amount of work to do, and we have to work around this delicate body structure, the frame, and things of that nature. Now, to start this off, we need our friend over here, Liberty Chevelle, to help us out. Now, you guys remember Liberty. This was a purpose-built drag car built in the 70s. It's super nostalgic. It's awesome. I love this car. I bought it as a drag car, and I want to keep it as a drag car, specifically a drag and drive car. So here's what I'm thinking. We take the 540 out of Independence and put it in this car. This has a 400 with a 350. It's getting tired, it's leaking oil everywhere, everything leaks. It needs to be refreshed and gone through. So this small block of transmission is gonna come out. That 540 and Harman transmission is gonna go in here. We're not gonna put the Pro Charger on yet, or the EFI. We're gonna go old school. We're just going to throw like a 1050 Dominator or some big carburetor throw a distributor in this thing, and just run it naturally aspirated, okay? Now, for that to work, we need rear end and suspension upgrades on this thing because it's not going to put the power down the way that it is. I've got a rear end. So we got to do a rear end swap here. Then we could take this rear end and put it back in the Independence Chevelle. So essentially it goes from a 10 bolt to a 12 bolt. You guys following along? Great, let's go back over here. So now Independence will have a nice 12 bolt rear end. We'll have to change the gear in it. We've got some TRZ trailing arms and things like that. That's good. It's an upgrade over what we had. But we don't have an engine and transmission at this point. But I got an idea. Let's go over here. So now we need an engine and transmission for Independence. So we could take the 400 and 350 out of the Liberty Chevelle, refresh it, dingle ball it, do a super cheap Evil Bay rebuild or something like that, throw it in, call it good. Or we take this 400 small block, which came out of the Monte Barrow that I did a really down and dirty cheap rebuild on Roadworthy Rescues with this blower and turbo 400 and put this into the Independence Chevelle, and we could have a small blower, low horsepower car with a decent transmission and a 12 bolt, or we can go naturally aspirated with the same 400 basically with a good transmission and the same rear end. So it's a lot of that. Here's the thing. I don't want to waste anything. We've got good stuff around here. We just need to reuse it. We need to reshuffle it. We need to make it happen. The cool part is, if a guy plays his cards right and we thrash this together fast enough, this car right here is going to be going on sick week. And I hope to have my friends Chad and Haley piloting this car for that week. So not only can we start the process of bringing Independence back, in the process of that, we could put another car back on the street and actually be using it, and it's not just going to be sitting here collecting cat paws in the dust. Caprice, stay off the paint. Yes, I told you that. Doesn't speak English yet. We're working on it. So anyway, you see what I'm saying now? For all of this to work, I need some help. This alone is weeks and weeks of work, especially with my schedule, because if we don't do a revival every 14 minutes, the stars are falling out of the sky. So I'm basically an over-the-road trucker that turns wrenches. I'm rarely here. So I've called in reinforcements. This is old school hot rodding. On the weekends, you call your friends over, you stand around a rack of bullets, and you do work. I got Chad coming. I've got Donnie coming. Those guys are awesome mechanics. I got my other friend Chad, not Chad or the other Chad. He's coming as well. And we're going to try to do as much of this as we can together as a group. It's going to be absolute chaos. And here's how we're going to start. I got to get my forklift running. It's leaking oil from everything. I went to town, filled up the propane. We got to pull Independence Chevelle out, get it up on jack stands. So 1 or 2 people can start pulling that motor. Then we got to get Liberty pulled out so we can start pulling that motor. I already need a cold snack. Now, 2 of you are still sitting on the edge of your seat. Well, what about Monte Barrow? You said Monte Barrow. Yeah, well, here's where that car plays in. I had originally wanted to take that car on sick week. And in the background, you probably saw it in some of the Duster videos, that car is having work done. Quite a bit of work, actually. How does this work now? Oh, it goes this way. It's been a while. Wait. This way. This way. There we go. Shows you how often I fill this. Anywho, we're going to make that into a drag car as well. Still going to have that nostalgic look. And that one's going to be for friends, family. Maybe one of you guys someday. I don't know. But it's a communal car, call it. Well, there's so much work to do on that thing because we have some high hopes to have a pretty fast car. We're just not going to get it done in time. So that's when we started pivoting towards using this blue Chevelle. And then it was like, well, we might as well get into Independence as well. So it's just, we got so many irons in the fire right now, it's crazy. Hopefully we can pull all this off and have 3 running cars this summer, all awesome in their own right. There we go. Just on the struggle bus today. Propane's almost $4 a gallon. You believe that? All right, let's see if this thing fires. There we go. Good old propane units. I got a propane rig so we can run it indoors more. They still do smell, but it's not that bad. Okay, let's see how bad we can twist up the Chevelle, see how many times we jam the roof into the lift and try to pull this thing out. Toes crossed. I think we're just gonna lift it so I get this exhaust out of here and the jack stands and move some of this hardware and stuff out of the way, and then we'll try to ease it out. Do have this hitch on here, which is nice. Maybe we'll pull some boat to the lake next summer. So I think we're gonna use that bar and kind of just try to gently lift and pull off of that bar, but first we gotta get lift off. Oh yeah, we got revage. Severe damage inbound. Let's see, we got used, no, these are free, used bent forks and no brakes. This should be fine. Forks are bent forward, of course. Got to use the e-brake, which is also wearing down. I ain't got no clutch either. Let's see, that's tilted back. See if we can get more backwards tilt, this wouldn't be that bad. I think we got lift off. Now I'll just put my skull underneath here and pull the stuff out. Normally I like to have a jack under here too so the paramedics can get your body out faster, but we ain't got the time. We just ain't. Oh. Scratching up the floor for Pete's sake. We'll have to put a new exhaust system on as well. You know, instead of just 3-inch straight pipes. Be nice to have a muffler too. Yeah, I said it. Muffler, okay? Coming in on the other side. Isn't that an Adele song? Hello from the other side. Or that's more Pink Floyd kind of sounding, but I think you know what I'm saying. These trailing arms are gonna have to trail. See if the key's in it. Actually, I'll leave the wheel turned just like that for a minute. Missed you. Missed this car. Okay. Let's see if this is gonna work. Oh, I think it's gonna work. Oh, that is not working. That is definitely not working. So basically, because the forks are so bent, it's just wanting to slide off. I'm gonna go try to find something to bind this up, probably some baling twine so it stays hooked on. Well, guys, got this 32 cents ratchet strap thing on here. That should be fine. And I tested on it. I ratcheted it a couple times and it did pull the car. So maybe that'll hang on, probably not. Yep, step about to slam the car on the ground. Easy, slower but faster but easier. I don't know why, but I feel like we should rev it. Yeah, that's pretty good. The gear on this works on a toggle switch, if you're wondering. Of course. Okay. This is going pretty good. Do I need to yeah, I'm gonna straighten out a hair. Oh boy, this has been leaking everything. What's going on, little buddy? Got 58 gallons under you. Looks like motor oil. I might have to open this door. Oh yeah. Wait a second, I'm doing this wrong. If I pull this car out first, then that car is trapped. I wonder if I should pull that car out, maybe put it on the other side? Probably. We're doing this all wrong. Am I even going to be able to get out with this in the way now? Probably not. Great. You guys were yelling at me. I just wasn't listening. Oh, something broke. That seems pretty good. So anyway, like I was saying, we need to get the blue car out first, obviously. Then we were just test running that theory. I'll put this, I guess, on the other side of the shop. Work on it over there, lose tools on that side, and then other people on this side could lose tools on this side. We probably could pull it right here, but the hood would be high. I don't know. We gotta get the hood off. It's gonna be a lot going on. Okay, we're gonna throw the old jump and carry on it before we even try. It's been sitting a long time. Yep. Sure. On. All right, let's see if this old girl will fire up for us. Yep. I actually labeled the key on this. Why? Well, I had to look for it for 13 hours. So let's go ahead and put a label on it this time. Okay, I gotta remember all these switches. Oh, that's the fuel pump. Still hasn't built pressure. There we go. Couple shots. Ooh. Come on, old girl. Do I not have the ignition on? Flooded? Huh. That's weird. Need a battery charger. I'm gonna pop the hood and see if the bowls have filled or what's going on. I've either flooded it or it's not getting fuel. Because this normally banged off pretty quick. Can't see. I'm getting a puff of smoke. That would tell me it should be. Oh yeah, she's just flooded up. Well, we'll try it again. No fuel pump, way more air. See if we can get this thing barking off. Turn the sparkles on. Now hit the fuel pump. There we go. That's what we're used to. Oh, come on. Well, what in the world have we got going on now? Help me understand it! Now I see the squirters. Oh, for crying into the mud. Off to a real good start with this whole program. At least this is the easiest part of the whole operation. My rear pumper ain't pumping. I'll tell you that much. The front one is. Huh. Well, we're going to go out with this battery. And we're going to go in with this one. A platinum agamum. And I remember this starter was on its last leg. I'll have to remember that. I'm going to keep this go handle around. We'll have to put a new starter on wherever this engine ends up. I don't know. Just don't let me forget. Okay, we'll forget together. Perfect. Oh, I finally got it. I don't know what's going on here. Now we'll see if all the transmission fluid is leaked on the ground. Nope. Okay, Liberty is fired up, moved to the other side, tuck the OBS under here for now, so that's not going to sit outside. Now I could pull this all the way forward to where the fork truck's outside, get it sat down, and hook it. Then we should have some room. If I do this right, I might be able to sneak the fork truck in over here yet, because we might need it. In case things get real redneck around here, we'll just yank it out with this. Nice and easy. Yep. Let's not forget we don't have brakes. Oh, stop. Okay, a little bit more. Oh, that's probably gonna do. Getting a little nervous. Let's put it in forward gear just so it, you know, chews a little better. I don't think we gotta go higher than that, do we? Let's see what the jack stand says. Yeah, bring it down. Nice and easy, bring it down. There we go. That'll work. Well, that should probably be all right, and gives us plenty of access here. We can get the cherry picker in here. I can get in and start cleaning up some of this stuff. Oofda. So we've been borrowing on stuff. You know, the last time we used this, power steering pulley came off, belts came off, destroyed everything. You know, the usual with this particular setup. This is out of a truck. I think this rad might already be in Liberty. I can't remember exactly. We borrowed the water neck and I believe a sensor out of this. Otherwise, everything else is in here. Oh, and the Terminator X is in the dually currently. But basically, all of this is going to come out anyway, right? Besides the brakes, obviously. And we'll be putting in a different power plant. So this is going to come out and we're going to convert it to carb and everything like that. Transmission should be fine for drag racing. I mean, it was built for burnouts, but we already did drag and drives and stuff like that on it. So that'll probably be fine. We can maybe even take this shifter. Otherwise, I've got one out of Charlotte laying in that pile. Leave everything else the same. Holly dash will come out. We might eventually get the rugged radios put in the other rig, but we could just put a floor shifter in. That whole pod thing could come out. Kind of clean it up a little bit. But this is going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited to start in on this. It's been a long time coming. One thing we need to figure out is what to do with the hood. Remember, there's a big peanut cut out of it currently. So this is the hood right now, and I was kind of thinking, could a guy get a cowl hood and try to, which is going to be almost impossible. It took me a long time to get this hood done. But we could try to match it-ish, and that way we don't have a huge gaping hole right over the air cleaner for whatever setup we put in the next. And I think the cowl hood would look pretty cool as well. And then this is the rear end going into Liberty. I've had this over here for a very, very, very long time. Just waiting. We were originally going to put it in Independence and then I retired it. But it's a custom 9-inch. It's made by Gear FX. It's got all the goodies. It's got the GM mounts on here. I believe it has Bayer brakes. Look at that. Beautiful. So this will be our rear end setup. It's got a 325 gear right now, which should work with our short drag radials. But this has been sitting here, yeah, April of 22. So it's been here a while. All right, Chad and Donnie are here. They're gonna get started on Independence. I've got to scoot to the town quick, get some parts and some doodads and whatnots, and I'm gonna be on the other side working on the Duster and Liberty. These guys are gonna start yanking the 540 and the 400 out of this guy. Really the only plans we have are to keep the Pro Charger kit together as one because it works beautifully. We don't know what we're gonna do with that yet. It may end right back up on Liberty. And then all of the AN fittings. This stuff is so expensive now. So we're gonna keep all the fittings and hoses and everything together. If anything, just so we could try to reuse a lot of this stuff. And most of this stuff, unfortunately, is gonna go away. It was kind of one-off, like the vacuum brake booster, the catch can, we can maybe repurpose, things of that nature. We've got a rad that came out of here that went into Charlotte that's gonna go back into Liberty. One from Liberty is gonna end up over here. We're just trying to recycle and use as much as we can between them. Good luck. So a guy just shoots to town, gets some U-joints and some U-joint straps and some beverages to fill the fridge. And these guys already got the engine out. Animals, complete beasts. Everything's out. So this is gonna be our rig right here. That was quick. So I set them up over on Liberty. I guess I'm gonna have them start over there. So these guys are digging in on this. I was supposed to have this out same time they had the other one out, but I guess I'll just have them get after this one. In theory, that big block should slip right in. It's the same exact frame. Everything's identical. I mean, they're 1 year apart, but nothing has changed. This one also has a smooth firewall. Probably be easier right now because it's got manual brakes, so there's not going to be the booster in the way, but we're going to change that eventually. While they're working on this, I got to get some work done on the Duster still. The Duster's going to its new owner soon, and there's just a few things I got to button up. And I want to make sure that's done and taken care of first, then I can jump in and help. And I'm just blessed to have friends that are willing to make things like this happen. And that's the fun of things like Sick Week and hot rodding and cars in general. The car community is just amazing. My other buddy Chad, not Chad, or the other Chad, is going to show up ready to work, and we're going to be drinking cold snacks, I guess. I don't know. Boy, we got tools flying today. I'm over here wrenching on that. These guys are getting ready on this. Good little 400. It needs sealed up. The rear main has an issue. The oil pan's leaking. Timing cover's leaking. The water pump gaskets need to, I mean, it just needs to be sealed and probably checked and spec'd and all that stuff. We're gonna keep it around though. It's a good rig. We'll plop out this whole combo, the 400 and 350, throw it on a pallet and hang on to it. We just got to decide if we want to put this in Independence, if we want to put that 400 blower motor, maybe build another budget big block. Excuse me, I don't know yet. But this one, you're out of here. Well, this is way easier than pumping that jack handle.
Headers out.
You know,
go back a little bit more. Scratching a firewall. We can't have nothing nice.
We ought to add brakes on this to our list. You know that?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, this 400 has joined the other 400 in various transmission pile, and we'll just stare at this and trip over it for a while, and we'll figure it out later. Oh, we do need this though for the big block. Well, while the small block's out, Guy's gonna get in here with the face ruiner and clean this up, and we're gonna completely restore the frame. And of course, by that I mean DE 1632. Let that dry for not long enough, and then we're gonna attempt to slam the big of blocks in over there, which should slide right in, with the exception of that wonky brake line. It might be a little tight, but other than that, we're fine. We should probably look at all the front end stuff while it's out. Yep. Okay, good. What else? Nothing. Well, it's fairly clean. It's probably gooderish enough. Didn't do the control arms because all this is going to come off. I think we're going to go tubular control arms, maybe even chrome moly with some dinner plate brakes instead of these dog bowl brakes. And then of course we paint prepped her with the proper stuff. So now I'm going to go ahead and completely powder coat them down with the old D1634 and let that dry for 45-50 seconds. And then we're going to see if this oil pan fits in here. The oil pan is squared, this is not, and it's really, really tight. As you can see from my previous endeavors, it is snug. I think it actually bumps it or touches it. So the trick is trying to get the tail shaft of the transmission up and over to get it to sit in, and then aligning it this way as well. Powder coating is done. I'm gonna let this dry for a minute. Chad, not this. Oh, Chad made it, by the way. South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia. These guys are trying to get the cross member out, and then we'll try to slide it in. One thing we're definitely going to fix while the transmission's out is the shifter. If you guys remember, even though it was an OG quarter stick, which are normally pretty good, the one in this car is so worn out or something. Maybe it just needs a cable replacement, but you can never find gears. It was basically like driving a manual automatic. So we're putting in a Pro Stick, and this one has buttons on the handle as well, and we're going to use those for the trans brake right there, and then we're also going to use it for the line lock right here. So when we pull into the box, we can pump the brakes, hold one button, that'll activate the solenoid, it'll lock the front tires up so we can initiate the burnout, and it just saves on brake wear in the rear. And then when we get to the line, hold the other button, that's going to engage this, which locks it in reverse and first at the same time. So you can mat it or hold the RPM where you want, and then when you want to launch, you just let go of that button and pew, take off like a rocket. Or that's the idea. So while this is drying, those guys are going to handle that. Today is just crazy busy. Again, I'm thankful to have friends helping. While they're putting the shifter in, Chad, not Chad, but the other Chad, we're going to go grab a trailer that hopefully doesn't have junk on it, one of them, hook it to a truck that has a receiver currently in it and a license plate that's valid. And I have to run to the next town over and pick up a rig that I bought, I don't know, long time ago. And my courtesy parking has expired. So I need to pick that up, bring it back here, and then we can start thrashing on this. And I also got to finish the duster today. So it's busy, but we're making a lot of progress. We now have 2 cars, one which was running, non-running, both without engines. So everything's fine. Well, Chad and I are back from our endeavor, and these guys have got the big block in. And I was chuckling. The first thing I noticed was how much clearance we have from the steering shaft and the oil pan to the cross member. Well, you could see on Independence, the steering shaft was right here, right up against there, and then the oil pan was basically rubbing on the crossmember. Well, they also had to take some shims out that I had to create for this engine to sit in that other crossmember as well. And basically what that's proving is how bent up that frame is and how twisted everything is compared to this car. This slides right in. These were really nice headers. There shouldn't have been any reason to beat on them. And had they gone into this car, we wouldn't have had to, but we don't want to waste money, so we're just going to reuse these ones. There's nothing wrong with them. Donnie's working on the dipstick. Chad's working on cross member, I'm guessing, sounds like, transmission-ish. We're making progress. We got to get a different pulley system. We might just do a whole different accessory drive on this. We've got the digital pump. We don't necessarily need the run because it's going to be more of a street strip car, but we need a different accessory pulley at the bottom. We've got to figure out power steering. Considering going to a serpentine belt style front runner system, so it's one belt, just runs everything, simplify it, make it easy. We could throw a couple belts in the trunk, and then we'll be taking this off eventually. Fuel make it happener, lightning whirler, basic big block. It's going to be a lot of fun. Donnie and Chad have worked their tails off on this today, and look, we've got now a 540 with the carb and lightning whirler off to 400. But listen, we want to hear this thing run, a celebration of sorts, and that's going to be just fine to fire this thing up. I'm assuming we guessed on timing?
Yep.
Yeah, perfect. So we're going to hit the key. Well, as long as it's advanced, we'll be fine. And it could fire off. Some fuel. We got a lightning cube.
Yes.
Okay, is the switch on? Okay, switch on. Fuel pump on. Bowl's filling. Oh.
Stupid gauge.
Oh yeah.
You said earlier that thing would start a fire.
Oh yeah, guaranteed. That's the fire starter. Only leaked on me about 38 times last time we had it out.
Oh, that gas smells.
Oh, it's terrible. It's like deck stain, basically.
Maybe we should put that on the Lamborghini.
There you go.
And set it on fire.
There you go. There, we're building pressure.
Wait a minute, the floats, this front float stuck or something.
All the way to the top.
Yeah. Give me a rack or something.
Well, it's too late now. We'll have to pump it into it. I'll try to fire it and just wrap on it. Okay, watch your arms and fingers. Here we go. Nothing. Try it again. Let's get a lightning tester and just run her in and make sure we got sparkles. Cranking. Got spark. Okay, well, it's either timing or we need more fuel. One of the two. Okay, pump. Ignition hot. Bringing the thunder. Could we be 180 potentially?
Nah, it'd be popping in the carburetor if it was.
Try again.
There's a bunch.
I'll do no pump this time.
Well, it didn't have a lot of compression on number one, so the lifters may need to get pumped up. May not have enough compression.
Do you have the oil pressure gauge hooked up yet?
No, we just put a plug in, remember?
Oh, that's right. What? Boy, it ain't wanting to bang on nothing.
Nothing. Wish at least got a fire to the carburetor.
Yeah,
something. That was about 40 degrees of timing range.
Yeah, man, I cranked a bunch in there.
Interesting. Okay, well, we got sparkles. We know we're getting fuel. Is there do we have, this wouldn't cause a vacuum leak, right? Because the ejectors are stuck closed because they're not firing?
The injector should be closed.
I don't know. This does look cool though, having the carb with the injector rail.
You have any block offs to put on it?
I think I do, yeah. Okay. Let's dig around. We're trying it again. Yeah, that's what it was.
Let's have a bad injector.
We flood it maybe?
I don't know.
Yeah, you're going the right way. Ready?
It's peaky like where it wants to be.
It's alive. Good job, guys. Appreciate you. Dude, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Ready to drive this thing or what?
Yeah, once everything else is done.
What do you mean? I mean, it needs a hood. That's about it. Sweet. So here's the main stuff I brought in. All of this needs to go in the car, and I'm sure I'm missing a little bit here, unfortunately. And I'm still going to dig around in the shelves and see if there's anything that we could salvage. But, you know, for example, I brought in a cold case rad and electric fans. I run these on everything. This rad is still good, but it's too small. It's not going to do anything for a 540, and I want to run dual digital fans. We'll throw that on the parts shelf, use it for something else. We've got different valve covers because these are just, they're Independence as valve covers, and I think it needs to stay that way. So I don't know what to do with those. Put them on the shelf, maybe we'll do a giveaway, something like that. I haven't determined yet. We've got a big whopping 1050 CFM fuel make it happener. Picked up an intake here, not the exact one that I wanted, but it was one that I could get quick enough here to utilize. Got a different distributor and MSD box. This one has a rev limiter in it. This one on board now does not. This system is perfectly fine. So we're gonna pull that out and that box, put it on the shelf. I know we're gonna use it, but I wanna put something in here with the chip. So when Chad drives this thing, he's not also stressing about, you know, when am I shifting this thing? He's still gonna have to find an RPM to shift at, but he doesn't have to worry about floating the valve train and blowing it up or anything like that. He can focus on line lock, trans brake, shifting, you know, all the usual stuff. Picked up an air cleaner. There's a couple odd and end fittings and stuff like that. I did get a different steering wheel and a Dabber 6000 remover adapter-rooney for the wheel so a guy can get in and out. Some lightning hoses here with ceramic boots. All the stuff we go forward, that's any sort of racy stuff, I'm going to do that because that's been a lifesaver in Charlotte. And then this is a big box from CVF. These guys are out of Minnesota. Met them while I was up there. And they have a little bit of everything, but they basically specialize in like front runner accessory kits. And this is the kit we're going to be using. And they even make them if you want to like bolt on a Pro Charger or something. You know, we can maybe use that down the road. So that's all these different boxes. They sent
a bunch of belts, and if we want to convert it to AN for our rad hose, these guys also do hinges and trunk hinges and stuff like that, but used quite a bit of their stuff over the years, and I didn't want to be farting around with fitment issues or anything like that. So there's an alternator. Should be everything in here that we need. So that'll be going on as well. So I think where I'm going to start is just strip the front down, pull the lightning whirler, get the fuel maker happener off, get all this off, and then we can start piecing this thing back together. I'll probably build this up first, and then we'll do the accessorize, then we'll do the rad. We'll just see how far we can get tonight. Well, guys, got her pretty well stripped down. Still got a bunch of cleanup and prep to do though, but nice shot here of these 1.7 roller rockers. We've got some Brodix girdles in here, some really nice valve train, and it looks really clean. Of course, there's basically 0 miles on this thing, but one of these cheap valve cover holder downer devices snapped right off in the head, so that's good. I got to deal with that, and I need to very carefully clean this gasket off here. It was just absolutely glued on, and a little nerve-wracking. We don't want to drop anything obviously into the cylinder, so I'm going to stuff some rags in here best I can, so when we think we got it clean, we could just pull the plug on them. Boop. And I'm going to lay some towels in there as well. Try to keep this as clean as possible. This is pretty much what we're going to be starting with, and then we'll be getting that different intake and fuel making happen around, but all that. I do need to test fit the other valve covers. I don't remember, I guess, them having these big honkers in here. It was a while ago. But I'll get after it cleaning here, and then we can start the reassembly process. Best tool in the world on there, of course. And I'm going to try to heat this up just a little bit, because if this snaps off in the head, then we're drilling and tapping, and that doesn't sound fun right now. There we go. Every good project starts with a fire, let's be honest. That or the battery on boil. Alright, what's that giving us? What's it saying? It's moving, but I don't like it. I don't like it. Okay? Been here too many times. We're gonna have to go to the heat, juice, heat, juice. That might get it out. Well, now guys, got her successfully snapped off down in there. I don't think that's coming out, and it's not on the bottom side. And we've got 7 total, 4 on the bottom, 3 on the top. We're down 1. Let's just see if it leaks, right? Yeah, okay, plan. 37 minutes, 48 seconds later, got her, I think. It doesn't look the prettiest in some spots, but you know, this was just more stubborn than a 2-legged mule, but now she's slicker than hawk poop on a pump handle, and I ain't kidding you. I think we're going to be just fine. I even ran some gray SOS over it, brake cleaned it, shop vac this, dampened the towel with brake clean, wiped everything down, made sure I got everything out of the valley I can. So now we can put on the new gaskets. Maybe some less rid of this time, for Pete's sakes. Come here, little buddy. Aha! Got it. So this is a Holley EFI intake over here. It's a single plane air gap unit. And this is the unit I went with, which is a YN Track Warrior. And you can see it is literally almost identical in every way possible. One could say almost the same exact thing, just that one's obviously, you know, digital injected. So we'll go ahead and plop this bad boy on and get her bolted up. The Y-end is all torquilized down, and by that I mean just kept popping the elbow, you know, back and forth, whatnot. And the new old to newest intake and injectors and rails and hardware is in here. And I think we probably will see this again with the Pro Charger down the road. So I'm just gonna box it up in this box, relabel it, throw it on the shelf. Ain't nothing wrong with it, and we'll save every single bit of it. In fact, I should find those AN lines and stick them in here too, actually. Well, it's time to jab a lightning whirler in here. On the top here, we've got this old Excel unit that was in that 400. And then this guy here is the new Pro Billet distributor from MSD. And you could just look at the shafts of these. You can see one is significantly better constructed. The base, things of that nature. But again, this one works just fine. This is going to go in this box. We'll use that on some other small block or big block. Now, before we jam this in, I'm probably going to make some adjustments. We at least want to look at this. These are the timing curves, and we can see here that they have a factory set timing curve. Looks like all the timing, mechanical advanced timing, is in at 4,000. Yeah, we're going to want to change that. We're going to want timing quite a bit quicker than that. So we're going to go through here, find the springs, what color springs does what, make some changements, adjust maticals, configurizations, and then after we get it set the way we want, we'll drop it in the engine. 42 degrees and lowering. It's the temperature in the shop and also the newest boy band. Jessica swung out, made me some hot cocoa, even got the marshmallows, and politely reminded me that it was 74 million early in the morning. So let's keep going. Okay. Well, guys, been studying this up here. We can also change the advanced stop bushing in these, so we can limit the amount of degrees it's going to throw in this thing. It's got blue in it right now. I did think about potentially putting, what color was that? Purple? Must have been purple. I still might, I'm not sure, but this is what we're looking at. We want all that timing in by 3,000 at least, maybe even a little bit earlier. So we're following these curves, and it's a combination of springs that get us there. And then you have to follow the line of the stop bushing over. So like this one, if you were to run black, you're going to get all your timing at 2,500, shy of 20 degrees. Then you have purple, you'd be about 2,750, and then blue would be right at 3,000. So if we put blue springs in, and it already has the blue stop bushing, we're going to get all of our mechanical advance by 3,000. A pretty sharp climb here. Now if we're at 18 to 20 initial, we got to take a look at this, and maybe we do go purple. We start adding the two together, right? So I got to decide what I'm going to do there. I got to try to remember. See, we never ran this engine naturally aspirated, so I don't have any idea or experience on what this particular setup wants to run for timing. So let me stare at this and we'll dig in. So as this distributor spins, okay, these arms fling out like this. And see how the cap would be rotating, but the shaft isn't. So as this spins faster, i.e. RPM, it starts moving the cap advanced. And then these springs can slow or quicken how fast this flings out. And then the stop bushing they're talking about is under here. See that nut? There's that colored bushing in there. Well, there's actually a provision in there. If you watch, see how that's moving? So if we put a bigger ring in there, one of these, like that green one, for example, it will allow this to move less or more. So a bigger one won't move much at all, so it limits how much it advances. A smaller ring will let this slide much more, right? So that's what it's saying back here is red, the smallest one, that'll throw another 28 degrees at it. It's got a blue in it now, which is 21. We can go purple 19 or black 18. I think I have decided to go black, which will give us all the timing at 2500 RPM. And we should be able to get 36 degrees. No, I changed my mind. We might want more than that. We're going purple. No, I changed my mind. Let's stay with the blue. So I need to put blue light springs in right here. So we're going to be changing out these springs. And then we're going to keep all this hardware in the car because we may need to be adjustabilizing this as we go. My eyes are getting so bad, I misread that. Made some more changes. I'm with a light blue and a light silver now. With the blue stop bushing, so we're in E. So we have all the timing. We follow blue bushing right at 25, little over 2500. We're going to start there on our tune, and then we'll make changes if we need to. So we should be good to put the cap back on. Pull the tag out. We're going to lubricate on this. It does come with some grease somewhere over there. And don't forget your gasket. Boy almighty, you could have a mess and think you blew it out a rear main. Yeah, this looks weird. There we go. All right, I'll explain what I'm doing. You got me. So on the Pro, you can use the standard J-hook, or there's hardware in here that comes in the kit where we can now bolt that to the base. And I like that for just extra security. Cap ain't gonna waller around on us, get loose, anything like that. That's all dialed on. Went ahead and put some bracketry on here. Had to bend this a little bit. This isn't squared off, so this doesn't want to roll out. Gonna have to get a different throttle cable. That one's too short. It's not gonna snap in here, but this cheap little $20 kit came with the springs and everything, so should be good. Moving on to valve covers. These are the cheapest machined valve covers I could find that seem to be decent quality. These are quick fuel, I think. I don't know. And the gaskets, I get to reuse the same ones. You spend a little bit more for these, but I knew the valve covers would be coming off for maintenance and potentially things like this. So this is a multi-layer. And we could just reuse those. These are going in the box for now, up on the shelf till I figure out what's going to happen with those. And hopefully these fit. We got new hardware. This looks like better hardware, thankfully. Well, we've got clearance issues with this baffle, and funny enough, I flipped these upside down. They look absolutely identical. I don't know if these are the ones that I purchased and had painted. Anywho's, on this set, they're completely cut out, but I don't know if that was for the girdles we ran on the 496 or the 460 or the 540. Ideally, you have something, otherwise it's just oil going straight out. So I'm going to try to bang these in a little bit so it'll still breathe, but we'll have this flange in here so we don't get oil splash. Test fit them again without the gaskets, and if they fit without it, then we know with the gaskets and a little squish we'll be clear. And basically what we're interfering with is the stud girdle hardware up here. You can see how much that adds to the height. It's a lot, but we need them. I see the issue, which obviously arose previously, is once you do that, you can't fit a grommet in here. So no matter what we do, in fact, that's got to be snagged on out of there. Zip, zip, zip. And then I guess what I was assuming last time was the girdle would help keep the splash down and limit how much oil is getting out, basically. Yeah, we got plenty of room. I can hear it. Now, if you wanted to be exact, you'd take some modeling clay, put it on all the higher parts of this, bolt this thing down, turn it over by hand, pull it off, and then see if you have any indentations in your modeling clay or any misshapes or anything like that. I just do this, and I go, yep, and then, you know, fire it up, and it's either going to work or it won't. Valve covers are on, torquilized up, and we're moving on to the accessorize up here. Look at this. This is really cool. We're going to be running AN for the rad hoses, and CVF makes this stuff too. So we'll have threaded here, and then they make a special coupler that goes over your stock rad outlet and converts it to AN, and then you can use AN line. So we're going to give that a shot. Much stronger, obviously. We don't have to worry about hoses blowing out or anything like that. And if they do, super easy to just replace a chunk. But I don't think that has ever happened with AN as rad hoses. So trying to eliminate some failure points there. Going to start with the water pump here and then start moving each device on. I think we'll probably, after that, do the power steering, try to get lines in, things like that. And the plan here is to move everything. These are the pulleys they make, to these beefy serpentine snake belts. Everything's going to have a snake belt on it instead of the V-bands. So again, durability, keeping the slipping down, things like that. Super fast and easy to put on. We can carry a couple extra. So we'll do that, and we'll start building it out. We even got a charging whirler that's black. It's got all the bracketry for that. It's got the bracketry for the PS pump and all of that. But we need to start with that WP right here. Water pump's in, power steering pump is in. This is a great kit. This is a lot better. Remember all that fighting we did with the power steering on Independence? I wish I would have done this so badly, but now we know. The only thing I had to change, well, two things I changed. This was a standard bolt, and it was just a hair too short. So I went ahead and put a cap hex head on that, or Allen key head. And then this block, this blueprint block, the water pump jacket holes are blind holes. So the hardware was bottoming out, and I had a little slop in here. So I had to add some washers, and we'll have to remember that if this is a little off or tilted, it's going to be this, and then we got to just zip the end of the bolt off. But this seemed to line up okay, and everything so far is staying nice and true. I guess we'll find out more when we get the pulleys on. Moving on to the power steering lines, they also have a kit for that. So we'll be doing AN. Normally I'm running all over the place chasing down these special fittings, and I think they got them all in here. So we'll be able to go high pressure, low pressure, right into the back of the unit. And once that's done, then we can get the pulley on. And this will be 100%. I want to get this 100% wrapped up, and then we can move on to charger whirler, crank pulley, water pump pulley, all that stuff. Okay, so this power steering kit comes with both style fittings, which is cool. There's this kind that goes all the way in, and it has the rubber O-ring on the bottom, and that's what seals it off. And then there's this style, which we've had more commonly, which just seals over a flared end in there, reverse flare kind of deal. This is what a stock line looks like. This is the mess that was in Independence before the pulley just ejected itself. So we're going to try, right now this fitting, when you screw it in, this boss or this area of the fitting bottoms out on this lip before this actually makes a seal. So I'm going to try this line and see if this one tightens, because if this does, we may end up using this line. Because my only other alternative, which we had to do in Charlotte, is grind this face down shorter so that this then would bottom out down in there. Now it works, but we're also throwing a bunch of metal shavings and stuff down into the, you know, go left, go right machine. So let me fool around with this for a second and figure out which route we're going to go. In theory, this fitting here as well should go right into the back of the pump back here. Well, sure enough, that stock line fit perfectly. I had to kind of bend it just a tickle, but it went up in, it's snug there. We've got plenty of movement back and forth. Doesn't look as cool as the AN line, but you know, I got other people driving this car, so I want this to be, do I dare say, safe-ish anyway. Got the AN fitting on this side though. We'll go ahead and run 45 off of that, make a little loop, come back up on that, and then it's just got this that slips over the end to look like an AN fitting, but it's just a hose clamp. And that'll be the return. So I'll throw that on quick, and then we'll find that pulley and run that bad boy on. Charger whirler's in, making some progress. Need to switch out this fan. There's a nice decorative cap that goes over that. And I need a Woodruff key. I must have dropped this on the ground or something, but the Woodruff key is missing off that. So I'm gonna run to the Hardmore store right away in the morning, and then we can throw some belts around this thing and tighten all that up. But it is time for breakfast. So I think I'm gonna call it a morning. I don't know. We'll see you soon. We'll get this thing buttoned up. Well, good morning. It is colder than Chrome in Alaska. About 19 degrees when I woke up. Headed to town right now. Got to get a Woodruff key, a big washer, some rear end oil, a couple other things. Head back to the shop. Try to get these accessorized finished up. So this is all finished up. They make their own fan and stuff. Got the pulley on. They even have a nice little cap that hides the nut on there. None of this is tightened up yet. Gonna do that in a minute. Need to finish this up. Got a key in there now so we could put the pulley on, and then I realized these guys know what they are doing and I don't. The reason there was a standard bolt head down here was the pulley will hit it. So I got to take this back out and run a regular bolt back through here, and then we could slide the pulley on, tighten everything up, and get our belts on. All right, the complete kit is in and it looks great. We got a big old 8-rib system on here now. We're not gonna have to worry about these puppies going anywhere, and it looks really nice. So engine's pretty much getting there. We've got some more ignition and things like that to do. We got an MSD box to put in. We're getting pretty close to firing this up. But I think that is going to do it for this particular episode, but stay tuned. We've got a ton of work to do. We've got a 4 9-inch rear end to put in. We might even do a transmission swap. We got cooling, ignition like I was saying. We got interior stuff. We got to go through the belts, check the seat, do a steering wheel changeover. There's a lot of work if this is going to make it to Sick Week. Thanks guys for watching. Appreciate you so much. See you next time.